So, how do you put on a retreat as a teacher, healer, coach, guide of some kind, facilitator? This is a lot of people's dream is to lead a retreat in some exotic place. Ooh la la. Hopefully, not have a White Lotus kind of experience, or what's that show with Nicole Kidman? But a nice, wholesome, holistic retreat. I have taught so many retreats. I don't know how many dozens all over the world. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying it because I want to help you do it in a way that's going to be fulfilling to you and your students and clients. Avoid some of the pitfalls and mistakes, and also maybe just to check in to see if it's your time to do retreats. A lot of teachers, when they get started, the first thing they want to do is a retreat. They find a place, they launch one, and then the first thing that always happens is they can't fill it. Not always, but often. And then it's like, oh, this is a real struggle. And then they look at the finances and go, okay, this, I'm not even going to make money on this. And now they feel deflated and kind of invalidated. That is a really common experience in the retreat space. So before we get into teaching a retreat, we have to actually see, do I have the student base to do it? Am I ready? Can I fill it up? A lot of people will say, yes, I'm coming. When you launch one, I'm in. And then the time comes and they see the price, whatever it is, and they go, I can't do it. So how do you know if you're ready to teach a retreat? Well, one, lots of people should be asking you, when are you going to do one in person? When are you going to do something in person, something long form? So you should hear and feel the demand, and you should probably have a solid student base, whether it's email list, Instagram, Insight Timer, YouTube. There should be a student base in the thousands, unless you have just a smaller cohort of really diehard students that show up to everything. So what you can do is put the feelers out, either email or Instagram or whatever it is, put a video out and say, hey, who's interested in coming on a retreat with me to this place? Respond if you are, and just get a sense of, are people responding? Are they excited? So kind of put out a little test balloon. Okay. The other thing you could do is teach with two or three other teachers, or at least one other teacher. And I used to do that a lot out of the gate as a teacher. I would, uh, with two or three other teachers, we would put something together. We'd each be able to bring three or four students. And even though we didn't make much money, it was great just to have the experience. So that's another way to go about doing it. I often teach with my friend Scott Stabile. He's an amazing breathwork teacher and writer, and we complement each other really well. I also teach retreats with my buddy Cody Edner, that knucklehead. we're doing one in the Himalayas in India in September. And I'll share my screen in a moment and show you some of my retreats, what they look like, and how I structure them. Okay. And the way I choose to, mom, the way I choose to do a retreat is I will choose a place I want to go, where I feel like the energy is right for the group. And for example, I was in Morocco recently and I just wasn't feeling the energy. And I decided I'm not going to do a retreat here. I thought I was, and just didn't align with what I wanted for my group. But generally, I'll choose a place. Hopefully, I've been there before and must always have. And I'll choose the place because of the energy that I want to bring to the group. So, for example, the Himalayas. You go to India, you go up to the Himalayas to a place like Leh, Ladakh, and there's all these Buddhist monasteries. It's peaceful, it's serene. There's a tradition there that I want my students to experience. Okay. Or I did one in the mountains near Montserrat outside of Barcelona, also a very special spiritual energy. Costa Rica on the beach has a different vibe, very healing and calming. Bali, we did last year or 2 years ago, very, very beautiful, very relaxing, very healing. So, what is the goal of the retreat? What kind of experience do you want everyone to have? I've taken groups hiking in Nepal, right? That's intense. It's not the chill vibe as much as Bali. Taking groups to Bhutan, where we're kind of exploring look, driving over the mountainside, seeing a new culture that no one's ever seen before. So, what is the goal of the retreat? I've done retreats in Montana on the lake where it's really about sitting, meeting people, meditating, eating really, really good food. And I love that personally. I love being fed by an amazing chef where you 3 meals a day, you're just getting really nurturing food, great sleep, meditating, and just making best friends for life. That's quite the experience. Or you go on something like a Vipassana, which is 10 days of grueling meditation, 10 plus hours a day. And the food, there's very little food. You get fed once or twice a day. And the whole goal is to be really still and to work through pain and to be in presence, which, of course, we have some of those goals in the other retreats, but it's not as hardcore. So, as a teacher facilitator, what is the goal of your retreat? What kind of energy do you want to bring to the group? Okay. Um, and let me share my screen here and show you. So, here's my retreat page on my website. And the Portugal retreat I'm doing in November is already sold out. And that's a lovely spot in the southern part of Portugal. And this one, Awakening the Himalayas, I think we still have some space left. Um, it's at 10,500 feet when you land in Ladakh, so it's not for everybody. I did not choose this place because I thought I would fill the retreat or make a bunch of money. I chose it because it's just, I want to go back. I've been, and I thought to myself, if there's one place in the world I could take a group of people and meditate and have a good time, this would be it. So it was not a financial or a business decision. It was, I just want to go back and bring a group with me. It was out of pure enthusiasm. Okay. So we did an info call, which is something, which is a great thing to do, where you do it on Zoom. You invite anyone who might be interested. You go through every single detail of the retreat so people feel like they know what they're getting into. Some people are really afraid of traveling, and you have to take that into account. So you want to ease that anxiety and answer any questions they have. And then I always share the replay of the info call on the site so people can get all of that information. And then this video, Traveling to Ladakh, was a YouTube video I made just about the location and the journey. And then, you feel free to copy any of this. We always put what to expect, a note for me and the other teacher. This time is Cody. uh, oh, by the way, me and Cody always teach retreats together in Boulder too. So we'll do something a little less intensive than traveling to India. Um, Always put testimonials. If you hopefully you have them, even if they're not about the retreat, they could just be about you, what's included and what's not included. Like airplane tickets to India are not part of the retreat. That would be crazy and really hard to manage. And alcohol. Of course, pictures of the location, right? Incredible spots in Ladakh. A special note about the altitude. I have students that wanted to come and they can't because they have heart conditions and it's just not the place for them. Um, and then some more cool photos. You want to show some pictures of the rooms, of course. This is where you're going to be staying, so no surprises. And the prices usually you can let folks pay one time. If you want, you give them a discount for that, or I say no more than 3 payments for a retreat because otherwise it gets kind of crazy unless somebody asks you for a special scenario, arrangement. Single rooms are always more expensive, especially in a place like the Himalayas where the rooms could be scarce at a location. And so if you get too many single rooms, there might not be enough space for everybody if you're using a smaller place. Um, and then I always put the itinerary on the website. Now, for this retreat, we did pre-purchase all the plane tickets from New Delhi to Leh, which is the city airport up in Ladakh. And so we pre-purchased them, so hopefully at a cheaper price than they'll be later on. And you don't have to give the details of each passenger to the airline until like 10 days before the trip. So I did a group purchase of the tickets, and I'm using a company for this trip, Ibex. They're a really nice high-end company, pretty expensive, but we're going to get really high quality guides and the experience. And so they put the itinerary together for us. We didn't have to do it for this one. Now, if you're just staying at a retreat center, you don't need that. But we're going to be traveling around in private jeeps with a guide through the Himalayas. We needed a tour company to take us. And they've been in Travel Leisure Magazine and all sorts of stuff. They came really highly recommended, but they were expensive. But I decided I wanted us to have the best experience, not the highest profit margin. That's decisions, decisions that you have to make. I remember, and then always an FAQ section, always have this section. Okay. And then a section if someone's questions aren't answered, instead of signing up, they can send you a message and you could have a conversation. All right. I hope that was helpful. Uh, and also, let me just say, I do often do a uh, refund policy. There's always, get all your money back up until a certain date, get half your money back to another date, maybe 3 or 4 months out from the retreat. And then, you know, at a certain point, you don't get any money back because the teacher, you can't get your money back from the retreat center, from the tour company, right? You've already booked the rooms. So you can't lose money on someone who doesn't come. So I think it's fair to give 100% refund policy up until a certain point, then half, and then none. That's how most retreat companies do it. I always tell my students to buy travel insurance, and I always send them options for travel insurance companies. And I could put a few in the description that I like. It's not expensive. You just buy it for the week or the few weeks of the duration of the trip. All right. Um, and then, I did also want to share really quickly just the gallery of photos from my previous retreats, just give you a little bit more insight. But before I do that, the way I structure the actual retreat as a teacher is I choose a theme. So is the theme healing? Is the theme spiritual awakening? Is it creativity or leadership? What is the major theme of the retreat that people are going to want to come for? Let's just say it's healing. I need 7 days to just relax and heal my nervous system, really work through something and rest. Well, I'm not going to trek people through the Himalayas if they just want to rest and heal. We're going to find a beach in Costa Rica or in Portugal, some Bali, somewhere where they can really relax and feel nurtured. Because when you feel nurtured and safe and relaxed and the weather is good, it's easier for some of that energy to come out. So know the theme. Then the way I structure the day also depends on the trip. Obviously, hiking is going to be different than a Portugal retreat where we just stay at the retreat center, but I'll do some form of practice for a couple hours in the morning, me and or the other teachers, right? We'll have breakfast either before or after, again, depending on the retreat. Then we'll have some downtime, lunch, maybe an afternoon practice. Like when I teach with Scott, he'll do a breath work maybe 3 times out of a week in the afternoon at like 4 p.m., where people will really work through some energy, a lot of crying, a lot of healing. Then we'll have dinner and then we'll do one more practice. That is usually how the day will go. When we do like a staycation, like a 7 day retreat at a location, maybe there'll be 1 or 2 excursions. We'll go on a hike or to the beach or on a tour of some kind. When we were in Spain, we went to a winery, which was pretty cool. I don't normally drink, but it was pretty fun. We did a retreat in Costa Rica once. We went ATV riding. That was really cool. You might do a dolphin swim if you're by the water in Hawaii. So something that really enriches the experience and brings the group together. And I always include that into the price. When I do my meditation teacher training, we spend some time on how to really structure a retreat as well. So, my whole goal is to give my students the best experience possible and make sure they understand what they're getting into, and uh, and really holding space for a journey that a group of people are going to go on. And I found a couple of things to be really vitally important. one is food. If the food is bad, the retreat is bad. People need to be nurtured, and when they're fed well, they're happy. It's just part of the human condition. Obviously, unless you're like on a Vipassana retreat, then suffering is part of the goal. But on my retreats, I always try to make sure the food is really, really good. And the second kind of goes along with the food is friendship. So people during the meals will really communicate with each other, connect, and sometimes become friends for life. I have many retreat groups that are on WhatsApp groups to this day that'll communicate and send pictures. How is everyone doing? I just had a baby, got married, that kind of thing. And it's really cool to watch everybody keep in touch. It's pretty special. So, food and friendship are vital parts of the retreat experience that I didn't really realize until I started doing so many of them. And even for me, I've made lifelong friends from teaching these retreats. It's pretty special. I even have a student who holds the record for most retreats attended. I think it's like 10 or something. It's pretty cool. I wanted to show you just the retreat photo gallery uh, and walk you through some of the really cool places I have been. So this is Boulder. We did a nice video. You can see it on my website, meditationschool.us under retreats. Under the calendar, you'll see retreats, retreat gallery. This is me and Cody teaching. These are our woo-woo intuitive groups. This was Bali in 2024 with my buddy Scott Stabile. Pretty gorgeous place. I mean, just look at that. Getting to teach a retreat in the jungle like that was very special. Cool thing about Bali or a place like it is it's cheaper. And so you could have higher quality places to stay without kind of breaking the bank. Um, oh, yes. Oh, no pictures of David with his shirt off. Okay. And then this is another Boulder one. Oh, this was in Spain in 2023 with Scott. That was a lovely retreat. And just so you know, oftentimes the rooms in Europe are smaller and less fancy than what you might get in Asia or in the US, just because it's cultural, unless you pay a lot. This was a talk I gave in Australia, beautiful room of people at the Australian Museum in Sydney. Himalayan retreat when we went to Nepal. We did some amazing hikes. We worked with the kids. If you want a charity to donate to, shout out to Himalayan Children's Future Fund.org. I will put that in the notes. That is our charity. This is me with a cow, making a best friend. That was a really cool group in Nepal, Bhutan. This goes on for a while. This was Montana. It's just an amazing spot. So many cool spots. This was outside of Los Angeles in Ojai. Okay, I think you get the point. Lots of smiling faces, lots of happy people. uh, if you feel called and ready to do a retreat, I would sit down, I would meditate on it. What is the core goal of the retreat? That's how you set the energetic theme. What place in the world calls to that? And do I have the student base to create it? Do I need to partner with somebody else to do it? Retreats are not as financially as abundant, maybe as some people often think. They can be, but the costs add up quickly. Your travel costs, insurance, all sorts of stuff. If you want to give a really great experience and you don't want just 1% always coming to them. For me, it's always been more just doing one or two a year because I enjoy it so much and I have a great time and I get to travel with the group. The one other way you can look at it is you do a much bigger group for a much lower cost. So you just rent a conference room somewhere, YMCA, a Unity Church, a spiritual center. You make it a really low price point in the hundreds of dollars or $1,000 for 3, 4 days, whatever it is, and everyone finds their own accommodation and you just do it that way. That's also a great way to do it. So you don't have to do something fancy abroad at a retreat center that's thousands of dollars. You can easily rent out a room at a YMCA or a spiritual center and make it very low cost and just let people stay at any place that they can find and you give them recommendations. So Ultimately, a retreat is a container where you're bringing people on a journey of awakening and or healing, learning, creativity, and you are guiding them. And hopefully they're eating well, having an amazing time, and making friends for life. Okay. Just that. No big deal. I hope all of that information was really helpful. Feel free to drop some questions in the comments section or comments. And thank you for sitting with me on this one. Maybe I'll see you on a retreat sometime. And it's time to start thinking about what I will do in 2026. Usually, you want to plan about a year out if you can. Give people time. All right. That's all. Thanks for being here with me. See you next time.